So no, both Chris. So like, if you go on Google and type in Chris Roberts playing Star Citizen, all the pictures of him playing Star Citizen is with this in his hand. It's the black one. It's generally a black one that's in his hand. And then his wife has also talked about, Adam's right, I forgot about that. His wife has talked about them making a game that's playable on a controller. So, like I said, I'm not trying to be a dick. My thing is I'm trying to take points of references throughout Star Citizen's history with Squadron 42 and what they've said and meld them together. And that is Squadron 42 is meant to be played on a computer as well as be played on, I think, the Xbox, not the PlayStation, but on the Xbox. And that is why we have master modes, is to make this easier, to fly with this easier. That's why master modes exist. It didn't come out to fix problems, bugs, desync issues, any of that, because all of that existed before, during, and after the master mode stuff that they've added. It doesn't fix anything. As a matter of fact, Carl and multiple other people have pointed out that it only exacerbates it even worse. So when you take PvP and you put it in master modes, it makes the problem worse. Like really exacerbates it. And they keep saying, well, it needs to be tuned more. It needs to be tuned more. Yeah. Is this a is CIG a CR project, or it is a, so, Mr. E, I don't know if you know this, but the three heads of the board of directors at CIG is Chris Roberts, Sandy Roberts, Aaron Roberts. That's 3 of the 6 board of directors. The other three people on there are very good family friends. So they literally answer to no one. Now, there was a South African guy who was a 7th on their board, who was a big donator to CIG, and they made him a board member, but that only lasted a couple of years, a year and a half to 2 years, and they booted him. Now, here's the thing with jousting. All right. Let me get some representations. Hold on. So, because I'm a man of class, we got this and we got this. So actually, these are way too big. Hold on. Those are just way too big. So we'll have to use pens. So here's the problem. The tips of the pens are 2 fighters. In the old combat model, right? Now you're going to have to imagine, because I don't have much screen space. So the tips of the pens are the ships, right? So in typical old flight model that we were playing with, when you have 2 fighters racing towards each other to merge, right? And they're 2 players that are new at the game, right? And they are screeching at 800 to 1,000 meters a second, right? When you go past each other on the initial merge, this space between you is going to be between 5 and 8 kilometers before you can turn around and come back the other way. Now, all you need is a tip, so I'm told. So now the next problem is when somebody is a good pilot versus a newer pilot. Okay, I'm not going to say bad pilot. I'm just going to say a newer pilot, right? So what's going to end up happening is the good pilot, he's going to slow down to like 300 meters a second or less. The bad pilot, well, I don't want to say bad pilot, the newer pilot, or the one that hasn't learned yet, is going to streak by at 1,000 meters a second. And once again, the gap is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers before they can turn around and merge again. Now, a pro pilot, what they're going to do is they're going to slow down. This new person's going to be screaming in. They're going to slow down. They're going to start to pre-nose and wait for this guy to start moving, you know, to make his pass, and he's going to boost right up on him and stay on his tail. That's how the pro pilots work. Now, let's talk about master modes for a second. Master modes, if you're both boosting at each other at 500 meters a second and you're merging, right? What's going to happen is you're going to merge, you're going to go past each other, and you're still going to create distance, okay? The distance, and here's the thing, the distance is shortened because the speeds have been slowed down. You're still going to end up, like I was doing this in Arena Commander, okay? You are still going to create distance, and that distance is only going to be like 2 kilometers, maybe 3 kilometers. Whereas before, when you did it in the old thing and you were both going that fast, it's 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 kilometers before you're turning and going back at each other again. Now, the big problem here is if you get two players that know relatively what to do, meaning slow down and try to get angles on each other, the problem is that when two ships are flying and they're trying to get angles on each other, this is what it turns into. It's pure face tanking. And because of the way the flight system is set up right now, it doesn't matter if this is a Connie, a Gladius, an Ares, a C2, a Redeemer. It doesn't matter. This can be a Gladius, an Arrow, a Hornet. Once again, it doesn't matter. If I push in, if they know how to use boost and they know anything about backstrafing, they'll just backstrafe with boost, strafe, and this is what it's going to continue to turn into. Every once in a while, I might get to the side. I might get to the side, or I might get to the rear. But as soon as they get their boost back, they're going to backstrafe, strafe, rotate, and I'm going to be right back on their nose again. So at slower speeds, you're still getting jousting, and you are getting pure face tanking. And all it turns into is who can stay on target the most and who can get on target the fastest. So it literally changes nothing, and it does nothing to increase or decrease server tick rate. It stays the same. Everything is the same. Everything is the same. Now, the only thing you will notice is if I am in now, right now, the industrial players, until I can be proven wrong, if this one is the PvP and this one is the industrial player, if there is 2 to 3 kilometers distance and this industrial player has nav mode on, right? They should, in theory, be able to hit 1,100 meters a second before this guy can cruise up to him and catch him. Now, here's one exception to that rule. If you are 2 kilometers or less, right now, your weapons will hit at 2 kilometers out. So you have repeaters or cannons or whatever it is that you're using. If, say, Pagan is in his mole or his C2, doesn't matter. And he has no shields on and he's racing to get to 1,100 meters a second to get away from you and create that distance. If he's under 2K, I can start hitting him immediately with lasers. So it, and then here's the thing. Now, engineering isn't in the game. Engineering isn't in the game yet, but if he's running away from me and I start hitting his engines or I start hitting his quantum, he won't be able to run. And if he has nobody on his ship to do engineering, he's dead in the water. I don't need a QED. I don't need a QED. I don't need a snare. I don't need any of that. All I need to do is hit the right components and he's dead in the water. And if he has no crewmates on board, that's it. It's over. I'm going to be able to overtake his ship, board him, kill him, and take his stuff. There's no need for a QED. Now, engineering isn't in the game yet. It's an experimental, but the whole World War II, we're going to, this guy's going to, try to do an S-curve around and get on the tail of this guy, and I'll be able to shoot his tail off, and he'll crash and die and all of that stuff. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. With 6 degrees of, and somebody said it, with 6 degrees of freedom, if I get on somebody's tail, all he's got to do is flip around. And now it's back to phase tanking again. I get to somebody's side, all they got to do is boost, flip around, phase tanking again. Yeah. I don't know. If I'm wrong, if if A1, I know some people don't like A1, other people do. If I'm wrong, please, Carl, anybody in PAX, anybody in Avenger Squad, anybody in Jonathan Winter's crew, and any of that stuff. If I'm wrong on any of these points, please tell me where I'm wrong at, and I will take it all back. I will take it all back.